This podcast is sponsored by One Gutter Guard, the premium gutter guard that delivers the highest performance, quality, and value to your customers. From its different mesh filters to its unibody construction, One Gutter Guard can be the difference maker in your business. Are you interested in becoming part of the exclusive dealer network? Contact them today at onegutterguard.com or just give them a call. Now back to our show.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Tim with Gutter Growth. I got Shawn here. Shawn Day, what's going on, man? How you doing today?
Good, Tim. How you guys doing over there, man?
Oh, pretty good, man.
Good.
Getting ready for the summit. So
I'm sure that is quite a task to put something together like that, man, especially a first annual.
I had no idea how much work it was until we got into it.
It is a ton of work, man.
Yeah, man. So cool, man. So for those that don't know you, you want to tell a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your business, and I know
Sure.
you help a lot of blue collar guys out.
Sure. So I actually owned a mortgage company for about 10 years after I lasted a year in the corporate world and couldn't take that. Got rid of my mortgage company, started a cleaning company, and had that for about 18, 19 years, sold it in 2015. Had about 40 technicians when I sold it to Blue Skies. And from there, we started buying, we stayed together after I sold it to Blue Skies, and we started buying other cleaning companies around the country. So we got up to about 11 cleaning companies, just shy of 100 employees. And I'm going, dudes, we need to figure out how to recruit because it's getting crazy. And so they're like, hey, good idea. Why don't you put something together? So that's what I did. It took me about a year to put something together for our companies. I wanted it to be automated, data-driven, and it had to work in multiple parts of the country because we were in about 11. We had about 11 companies, but in about 6 states. And so we never envisioned doing this for other companies, though, at that time. And what had happened, we saw a couple buddies at a convention, and they were just BSing over a beer or something about recruiting and employees. And we got this great system, man. It's just great. Can you help me? I don't know. We don't do this for anybody else. You got to help me. So we did, helped a couple, did really well doing that. And dude, high five, you got to charge me, man. Whatever. I don't care. This is great. And I said, we don't do it for anybody. I don't know what to charge. So after bickering about charging, I sent an invoice out for a case of beer. So that was our first invoice. It was for a case of beer. Now we've got hundreds of companies, home service companies around the country that we've probably over 1,000 by now that we've recruited for.
That's awesome. I know it's a lot of people struggle with that, especially in small or, in any gutter company, any home service based business. I think they really struggle with. That's like the number one thing I hear.
Yeah. It's if I always tell people, if you can get your employee side of your business figured out, you're sleeping better at night. The wife's not calling the attorney for divorce papers. If the kids are happy, your personal life really can turn into something and your business becomes fun.
Yep. So what did that look like? You had like 11 companies, and how many employees did you have altogether?
So we had, it was literally just shy of 100 employees. And then what had happened was Dan Plata started to do bookkeeping after we got the recruiting thing up and going, and we sold off the service businesses. And since then, in October, we parted ways with Blue Skies and started Hire Lead Chill. And we don't really do any marketing or sales, so to speak, other than conventions.
Okay.
And we don't even know what we're doing really there. The first 2 conventions we went to, Dan and I are there, and Plata's handing out beers to everybody, and we're just kind of BSing with everybody, having fun. We're doing, hey, man, yeah, we'll catch up. And like the first one, after a couple hours, I look at Dan, I'm like, dude, I think we're supposed to like get emails or phone numbers or something. We didn't have business cards or anything, so we had to get that figured out. But it's It is imperative to have a system put together for this stuff, because if there's so many things that people hate about recruiting that are business owners. They just hate, that they've been burned so many times. There's nobody that wants to work. These are the things I hear. And then they don't show up to interviews. Then when they do finally work, they last a while. All these things are just things I hear every single day about, just super shitty mindset, to be honest with you. And that's one of the first things I always talk about is, we went through, Tim, and we trained all of our location managers at the time to completely forget what you know, forget what you think you know. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to treat this much differently right from the get-go. And I know you guys talk about mindset a lot. And I just said, we got to treat it like it's the biggest sale of our life. We all, as small business owners and entrepreneurs, we love talking about sales and marketing and revenue, how much revenue and how many trucks you got on the road, how many, all that.
Yeah.
Stuff. We love it. Right. We don't brag a lot about that stuff with recruiting. So I said, if we can treat an interview and when we hire somebody as the biggest sale of your life, I think maybe you'll look at it a little bit differently. So that's kind of where we started with it.
I kind of have that perspective about it too, because it's like everyone knows that they need a job. So they spend money on marketing and they're always chasing another lead, but they never have any leads for, recruiting.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
exactly.
Yeah,
it's, we had a couple of window cleaning businesses. We did gutter cleaning, Christmas light hanging. And I know for us, at least, residential window cleaners bring in like $180,000 a year. And that's in a 9-month season.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me what residential customer or maybe even commercial customer is going to bring you that revenue. A residential window cleaning client's worth about $1,000 if you sell up into gutter cleaning and some other things. It's $1,000.
Yeah.
And what do? We'll be there Sunday. We'll do whatever you want, Mrs. Jones. We'll be all that. Absolutely, Mrs. And then what do we do with a candidate, a job candidate? We look at them and go, you need to prove you're worthy. We make them do silly things. Tell me a joke. All these old dinosaur things that we used to interview and make them just go through goofy things. And it's I don't know why we disrespect them when they're going to bring us hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue.
Yeah, it's very true. I think most ads are just written wrong.
Yeah. Well, and before I knew what I was doing with recruiting, I wouldn't let my son apply for a job, for what I used to write. One of the big things I see, and I think what happens is, Tim, you've got this frustration about it. And then you're like, you get burned because you thought you had a rock star. They last a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, and they just bolt. And you're like, man, and you get burned, and you're like, this sucks. So what the mistake is, I see a lot of people trying to screen too much in the job description. If you don't look like this, if you don't sound like, my favorite used to be, you have to be well-spoken. And I'm thinking, are we hiring them to recite Shakespeare, or are they cleaning windows, man? Or are they cleaning gutters? What are we doing here? It's like,
right.
I just find somebody with the right attitude, and that you can, if you've got any good training at all, you can train them. You can, a little bit of culture, a lot of leadership, and you're going to score.
So what kind of companies do you work for? How do you go about recruiting for them?
So the very first thing that we do is I just can't overemphasize this, research their labor market. So when a client comes to us, I'll do a demo of our systems and our process. And our sort of elevator pitch is, we're your full-time recruiting department. So we're not just providing you with the platform. We call it a CRM, but candidate relationship management, right? Everything's the same. Sales, same damn thing. So we do the research in your labor market for a couple really important reasons. Number one, I don't know your labor market. I need to understand it. I want to be able to breathe it, smell it, and know it. That's number one. The other thing that it does is, when we do research in your labor market, we'll make sure your wages are okay. We'll double check some things with your competitors. We'll figure out what your competition's up to. And then we also figure out, I love AI. I use ChatGPT every week. Maybe not every day, but every week I use it, man. I love AI. It's a great tool. Don't make the mistake that to just relying on it for your job descriptions and job titles. You can make it sound really cool and sexy and all that if you want to with it, but Indeed and ZipRecruiter and even Craigslist and some others, they have these algorithms that ChatGPT doesn't understand. It doesn't know it. It doesn't have that research. Maybe one day soon it will, but from what I can tell right now, the other thing is, Indeed's algorithms and Facebook's algorithms change like every other week, it seems. So
what's happening? They're plugging in ChatGPT and it's not pulling up as much.
Yeah, so exactly. You're killing your application flow. So I'll give you a very quick example. We owned a window cleaning company in Minneapolis and gutter cleaning company in Minneapolis. Same damn company in Cincinnati, Ohio. Blues, same company, same job title, same everything. Not job title, but same everything else. We found through research that Minneapolis, you should use general labor as a job title and some general labor inside of the keywords. And that's what worked phenomenally well. We hired 40 technicians in 1 year there. Okay. Cincinnati, a much smaller office at the time. If I just skipped research, I would have put in general labor. But when I did do the right thing and didn't cut corners and did the research, it said to use window cleaner or window cleaning there. So it's a lot like parts of the country that buy soda. I don't know what the hell a soda is. I buy pop in Cleveland, Ohio. Okay. Smack me in the face with a sneaker. I wouldn't know what the hell you hit me with. I buy tennis shoes. Those things matter in keywords in different parts of the country as well.
So that makes sense. So you're just kind of breaking down the analytics of it and
That's
figuring out exactly what works before you even start.
Exactly. It's the fundamental thing to do that research, understand because what you're doing, it's like SEO. When a customer's on their phone looking for a gutter cleaning company or, installers or whatever it is, they're going to type in certain keywords. That's what you want your website and your Google ad stuff and all that stuff to correlate with that. Exactly the same thing with jobs. If I'm putting in professional cleaning technician as my job title and there ain't a person in the world that searches for a job called professional cleaning technician. They all look for cleaning jobs, cleaner jobs, stuff like that. That's whatever they're putting in is what you need to match in your job title.
So they're typing that and you got a different keyword in there. So you're not even pulling up. And so you're
right. Or what happens, Tim, is you're going to have to pay more in boosting and sponsoring those ads. You're going to have to pay more to get it on top because you're not getting those keywords right.
Okay. Yeah, because I hear a lot of people complaining about not LinkedIn.
Indeed.
Indeed. Yeah, the cost of it.
Yeah, it's gone up quite a bit. It's right now we were around 3.5% unemployment for since pre-COVID, just after COVID. We're up, and I've been saying this for a couple of years now. When we get to that kind of 4% unemployment, which we just got to, I think last month, maybe 2 months ago now, that's when you'll start to see things loosen up. And we're getting more application flow now again, which is really cool. But here's the problem now. Whenever you solve one problem, your door opens to a new one, right? Yeah. And so what happens now is, how do you get through all the resumes and applications if you don't have systems in place? Because it used to be, man, I got to pay a fortune and get these. Now you're paying the same thing, and all of a sudden you're getting stacks of applications and resumes. What if it's the 90th one on there is the gold nugget you really need to get to? But if you don't have automations and systems, you're going through all of these. They're going to have a job by the time you get to them.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, what is the biggest mistake you think that people are making when they're trying to go about hiring?
The biggest mistake is probably your mindset, but we talked about that. So another one is I think, just not having the proper screening up front, which allows then your interviewing to be more about presenting and matching culture and of your company, because there really shouldn't be a lot of screening questions in your interview. You should really do all that screening up front. If you take a look, and an easy way to screen, if you don't want to do like predictive index and all the rest of that, and all the other things that you can do, some of it's they've got its place. They really do. There's good things out there, but we've got a proprietary scoring system that we've used. It's weighted. It's specifically for like technicians. Then I've got one for sales. But what you need to do is you need to think, if you want to put one together on your own, what's my best employee I've ever had? Sit down with that best employee and say, what are the couple things you don't like about the job? What are a couple things you love about the job? And make those questions. And whatever he said or she said, the right answer, have a drop-down menu. Whatever their answer was, make that the highest scoring answer. And then you can make a little bit different things and make it a little bit different. But you want to duplicate your best employees, right?
Right.
It's really hard to do, and ours is data driven. So we've collected a ton of data to make sure it's accurate. But screen the living hell out of them up front, man, whether it's a phone screening or whatever it is, so that the interview, and we do a revolutionary way to interview. It's phenomenal. The interview should be about matching culture and you selling the company to them. You should already almost know that you probably want to hire them at the interview.
So they're already pretty much all the way qualified. You're just matching up culture when you get on the phone.
Yeah, the one mistake I see too is, and there's so many things I see, but especially with technicians, this isn't so much for sales or an ops manager, but most of us are hiring technicians. Right. So speed is everything with technicians, because you got to know when you go into Indeed as a job seeker. Indeed makes a big mistake, I think, but Indeed has that quick apply. Quick apply, quick apply, quick apply, quick apply, quick apply. So they're applying to 10, 15 other jobs sometimes, even good employees.
If you don't get to it quick, someone else does.
Bam. So the speed is everything. So automation's important if you can do it. And an online application is definitely a must. Whether you do a Google form or Jot form or something like that, definitely have to have an online application, so that in a sense of a number of questions where they can finish it in 5 minutes or less. I wouldn't ask any open-ended questions other than contact information. None of this, tell me about this or tell a story, describe this, because 85% of them are doing it on a phone. They're not at home, no music, big desktop computer, focusing only on your job, man. They're having a beer with friends. They might be watching a ball game, their kids. That's how we operate today. So we don't want them texting, all these lines of text and doing this stuff on the phone.
Trying to make it simple.
Absolutely simple to apply, not to qualify. That's a whole different ballgame.
But that's step one.
Yeah. Step one, make it as easy as possible for them to apply. Don't you do that for your customers? Right? Again, It's just like sales, man. It's just like sales. Real quick. So the website, right? The job description is your website for getting as much getting leads, like you said, getting leads. That's what your website does. It gets leads for prospects.
And you're only asking for contact information on the website.
That's it. And don't screen too much on that job description. Don't try to screen on it. It's a job ad. Do you screen prospective clients on your website? If you're going to be a cheapskate, don't call us. If you're going to bitch about something, don't call it. Of course not. Don't do that in a job ad, man.
Yeah, that's smart. That makes sense. So qualifying, so then you're just going to have a series of questions you're asking them after that, or how does that work?
Yeah, so you can do a number of things. If you can get something automated, whether get a CRM, you can even do it in a CRM or something. We've got a really cool system that we use. There's 1,000 CRMs or application tracking systems out there. Ours is really cool. You get a 5-minute online application, you hit submit. We instantly know whether or not we want to interview them instantly. Okay. So one of the things we highly recommend is having a video on your online form or online application of the owner or the manager of the company that basically says this: "Hi, I'm Shawn. Let me tell you why you're going to wake up every morning and love to work here." And then do a 45-second thing on that. And then when they hit submit, if they don't qualify, they get an instant message that says, "Hey, thank you for applying. We've decided to do something else. Have a good day." Those that do qualify, and we know we got a pretty good handle that we're going to want to interview them, they get a link that says, "Click here to set up an interview. We can't wait to meet you and get you hopefully interviewed and hired right away."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it would be hard for anyone just to do this because of all that automation. So that's where you come in. What does it look like hiring your company?
Yep. So what happens is, if you want to set up a demo, we'll do a demo. And honestly, this is what I tell people. I'm 56. I'm not motivated by money. I'm here to help people. And what I do is I'm going to show you our demo or our system, exactly what we use for hiring our own people, right? And hundreds of other clients around the country. If you want to steal anything I show you and try it on your own, call me up if you need help with that, and I'll help you with that. And by the way, at the end, I'm going to give you some options on pricing and services as well. You can use, and it basically comes down to this. if you're too busy to mess around with being a full-time recruiter, okay, we'll do it for you. That's one service that we provide. You'll never have to go into Indeed again, never have to do Facebook ads, none of that. We do it all for you. Very similar to Mr. Pipeline. Yep. On the marketing end, it's identical. That's sort of how we work it on the recruiting end, identical. Yep. Or you can take our platform that we put together, and we've got all the automation, all the messaging. We'll set it up for you, and you do everything on your own. And you can put different options. Yeah. So either way, if maybe you've got an office manager that has a little capacity and they can handle that, we'll give you the system. Just take care of it on your own. And we do have some customer service with that, but our customer service is outrageously good, man.
Are you finding people are doing much better just having you take over all of it?
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. And our customers basically have two things they do: fill out a form so we can get you set up on the system. That's one. The other thing is show up to the interviews. That's it, an interview. Everything else we do, you don't go into Indeed. You don't engage with just people that don't qualify, which that happens all the time. You don't even see or hear or talk to anybody until the interview. And
are you doing mostly Zoom interviews or?
So what with technicians, we do this, man. As soon as we know that they've set up an interview, they've gone on the online application, they qualify, click the link, please get interviewed right away. And what we do is when they do that, then we send them an employee video testimonial that says, "Hi, I'm Shawn. I've been working with ABC Gutters now for about 3 years. Let me tell you why you're going to wake up every morning and love to come to work here." Okay. And by the way, the only reason you're watching this video is because you set up an interview. I'm begging you to show up to it. It'll be the best thing you ever did. Right. Guess what that does to your no-shows, Tim? Dramatically reduces them. I can tell you, but before we get off, I'll tell you how you can eliminate them totally.
Okay. But, yeah, that's pretty cool.
So we don't bother with Zoom and stuff with technicians. The spectrum, by the time that they read your job ad, we ask them to interview, they schedule the interview.
So they're probably coming into the office.
I want that, but there is no reason that you don't want to get them interviewed and hired right away. Salespeople, ops managers, office managers, different. They expect a couple different interviews maybe, but these technicians want to get a job, especially the smart ones, right? We're coming up on fall here sooner than we think, between gutters and Christmas lights and everything else, man. In July is the time you want to market for that stuff. And in July is the time you want to build relationships with these candidates in your area.
So say if like someone has Christmas lights for an add-on service for gutters, you think that they should start in July instead of waiting too close to actual season?
One of your questions was, what's the biggest mistake I see? And if I reflect as we went through all this and talked about it, and I reflect back at this, I would say that the biggest mistake that we used to make and a lot of companies make is that when you're fully staffed and you've got just enough employees and things are just roaming, the car's just driving down an automatic drive, man. You're making tons of dough. You stop recruiting. You stop interviewing. You stop doing that completely. And just like sales, if you stop marketing, and sooner or later, you're going to have an empty schedule. Same thing. All of a sudden, what happens? You got 5 employees. Joe breaks an ankle and the other one gets a DUI and you're down 2 people. Now you got to start. Yep, you're scrambling. You got to be super proactive.
Out of desperation, you put the wrong person in there too quick.
Yeah. We go back to hiring a pulse, and then what happens to your A employees? The couple employees you have left are working their butts off. They're stressed out. You're stressed out. We build a bench of employees that are waiting to work for us, and that's what our clients do.
What is the cost for hiring you guys?
So anywhere, the lowest price we have is $147 a month. The highest we have is $347 a month, and that's it.
So this is very affordable.
Yeah, it's not anything crazy. If you want to just use our platform, it's $147 a month. You'll have full customer service. We'll have it set up for you. You got a full-time platform, CRM, does everything for you. If you want, except the job ads. If you want to go with a full-time recruiting department, we'll research your labor market. We do all your job titles, job descriptions. We research where to get those posted. We'll put a budget together for you if you need to boost or sponsor. I mean, we handle everything. We even teach you how to do group interviewing and all kinds of different things. When the market changes, when there's new things that come out, we're all over that stuff.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. That's affordable. I mean, look at it this way. This is how I look at it. So the yearly cost on that, few grand.
Yep.
But if you run into a situation where you lose two main guys, you could lose that in a week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Days.
Well, you hire one technician and you're making, they're making you 50 grand, 150 grand somewhere in there, depending on what your business is all about. So either that, or, if you can stop anytime you want, it's month to month. It's not a long-term contract or anything like that.
Okay.
But what happens is over time, we want to build a bench for you. So if you're a Christmas light hanging company, if you're going to bulk up in the fall for any type of gutter cleaning, or whatever it is, landscape, lawn care, right? They do all the leaf blowing maintenance stuff in the fall. I can tell you right now, we've got clients that in July are going to start recruiting for that stuff, so that when at the end of July comes around, not only do they have keep recruiting, the ABCs always be recruiting, not only that, but they are interviewing people and they're telling them, we're going to get you started. You're hired. We're offering you the job, but the start date's September 1st. And they've got 10 people on that list. And in case a couple go away, you still have 5. Literally, they're waiting to work for you when the time comes. Why would you not do that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty slick.
Those strategies are and I've got 25 other strategies like that are going to make a big difference. So if you get your marketing going and you see that board and you're looking at your board and it's getting full, instead of saying, hey, Mrs. Jones, I don't know if we can get to you until 2 months or until December. No, build that bench. Then you're looking at that board going, man, book away, man. Tens of thousands of dollars will be added to your revenue, if not hundreds of thousands, with just that one strategy I talk about.
What I hear so much from people is just like, no one wants to work. There's no one out there that wants to work. And it's not true.
It's not. You can go back. I think it's Socrates, man. Obviously I'm a blue collar guy, so I don't have a lot of brain power, but I think it was Socrates or somebody like that literally has a quote like the generation coming up don't like being outside and they just like laughing and having good times and not working hard. So that's been going on for like 2,000 years or whatever. It's been 2,500 years. Yeah. That's not going to change. I can tell you, I've got a 16-year-old daughter. She's going to be 17 years old in July. She worked at a pizza place for 2 years and has $11,000 saved in the bank. There's plenty of them that want to work out there, man. The problem isn't that they don't want to work. The problem is the systems and processes need to put together to recruit properly. And then, you know what? Maybe we just need to have better leadership skills, because Tim, the guys that we're kind of hiring in their 20s and even maybe in their 30s now, but certainly in their 20s, were kind of the first generation that grew up with a screen in their hand from day one. They're the first generation that at T-ball, everybody won a trophy. It wasn't, you didn't have to win nothing. I'm not, that's, how do we blame them for being a little soft if we've raised them like that? That's how these kids were raised. So a leader looks at that and goes, listen, Joe, to work a little bit of overtime, to feel really rewarded about that and to feel really prideful and good about yourself is a good thing. Tough, hard labor is a good thing for you. And leaders need to sit down with their employees sometimes and explain that to them, man.
And if you're a leader, you're going to have more successful hires, because not only are you getting them on board, but you're keeping them.
The retainment. Yeah. And we do a lot of teaching on culture, and we do a lot of teaching on leadership for our clients. There's the one thing that I want to make sure is that if we get you 3 really good people, I want you keeping those really good people.
Yeah.
That's because we've had companies when we started, Tim, that, hey, I need one employee to get out of the truck. Then all of a sudden, like 3 years later, I just posted on our Facebook thing. We just had somebody that reached out with a testimonial saying, I've got, I don't know how many technicians through Hire Lead Show. I've got an ops manager. I've got a salesperson. So we've gone from like a couple of technicians. Now we've got ops managers and salespeople for this person, this company. It's super rewarding. Imagine the amount of stress that goes away when your employee stuff is fixed.
Yeah. Let me ask you, is it hard to hire sales guys? Do you think it's easy, or it is?
For our industry, it's tricky, man, because there's so, when you look at general labor or technician type of jobs, there's already guys that they want to work outside. They're blue collar type of guys. So we kind of know that. You look at sales, go look on Indeed and put in job search sales. You're going to have every single industry that there is hiring salespeople. So every industry in the world is hiring salespeople. And ours tend to not pay the highest because we're not big corporations. We don't have, you get a company car, 401k, 5% matching, the best healthcare benefits you can afford. We don't have a lot, 2 weeks off as soon as you start, paid and all that stuff. It's kind of 100% commission. We might take a draw type of thing, so it's a little bit different pay wise. So you really, in my view, you're still looking for a blue collar guy or gal, but it's just a salesperson.
Someone who's in that industry or has been in blue collar their whole life and wants to get out of it and get into sales.
And it could be somebody that maybe works at an equipment rental place, where they rent the boost and maybe some backhoes and maybe a Bobcat or, something like that. And they've been behind the counter dealing with commercial type of people that rent those things and window cleaning companies. That might be a really good salesperson for you. Somebody like that.
So do you guys have a certain tactic that you do to kind of attract that crowd?
Yeah. I can tell you guys right now, we've really dialed in Facebook for salespeople. I never would have thought that. I would have thought it wouldn't have been like that because it's kind of that social media type of thing. But everybody and their dad and their brothers are on Facebook, and you can show a lot of cool things with video. And hey, man, you're posting things about others. If you got another salesperson, getting your employees in there and just getting that vibe out. And when you post a few ads, and we'll handle that for you if you want, you're starting to get a lot of people that are coming in salespeople wise and even management wise out of Facebook now. It's changed quite a bit over the last year.
Facebook seems to be getting better and better. What do you think about LinkedIn?
LinkedIn's a goofy bird. LinkedIn, to me, at one point they were trying to compete with Facebook a little bit with like some blue collar stuff, and they haven't been able to do it successfully. I think it's okay. You don't get a lot of application flow from that when you like post a job ad per se. Mm-hmm. There's some automation out there that we've used in the past where you can, kind of choose what sort of company you want to attract or what kind of salesperson you want to attract. But that's a really long-term strategy, and it takes a while.
Like outreach?
Yeah, like an outreach, and then you can automate the messaging and follow-ups and all that type of thing. And that's a little bit longer. Yeah, it's trickier. It's got a longer tail. A lot of times they're not proactively looking for a job, right? So it's kind of like you're just kind of building relationships more or less. That takes a lot longer. When you're on a job board or Facebook posting a job ad, somebody looks at that, they're probably looking for a job.
Got it. Do people still use Craigslist, or is that kind of just...
Yeah, good question. Craigslist works phenomenally well in some parts of the country. I'll give you a really big tip on Craigslist. Again, I'd have to research what labor market you're in order to tell you to use it. It's so damn cheap, though. It's worth doing. But I've done a whole class on Craigslist. Most people do not know how to use Craigslist. That's the problem. And I'll give you a couple tips really quick on it. Number one, you've got to have images and you got to have clickable links. And unlike other job boards, believe it or not, you've got to have a ton of keywords, but at the end of the job ad. and you'll get a lot more application flow that way. I mean, we use 100 keywords at the end of it, but we have it in like white font so the reader can't see it, but the platform still picks it up. Yeah. So that's tip number one, and it's kind of hard to do that because it's hard. You have to do some HTML stuff to get all the clickable stuff and the images and all that, but we've got it down. The other thing is that with Craigslist, when you're looking at maybe a seasonal type of job like Christmas light hanging, or maybe you're going to lay off some gutter cleaners or something, you just need them for that fall cleanup type of stuff. It's a 3 or 4 month project for them. Craigslist, you can put like in general labor type of jobs, you can post it there. We've got a lot of success, dude, putting it in what they call gigs. And gigs, there's something they call gigs, and that is literally something that people are looking for, just like a short-term project for a couple months.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's what are we talking about? A 3 month, 4 month period there. But the key to it is too, don't put the hourly rate in there. What we do, I've got window cleaning companies like Ryan Fox that does, millions of dollars in Christmas lights. He's a client of ours. We'll put in, instead of making $20 an hour, we put in $15,000 to $20,000. Sound good for Christmas? Read this ad, because he'll pay people 15, 20 grand over 4 months
over the whole thing. Yeah. But it's that title that's sucking them in.
That's all it is. That's what we do. That's a headline, like a classified ad.
Yeah. So headlines are a big thing.
All Craigslist hasn't changed its platform in 25 or 30 years. It's the same, literally the same platform. And all it came out to be was a digital classified ad. That's what their vision was. And they haven't changed it. So just like old time classified ads in the newspaper, you could pay extra for that bold print, and it was all about the headline. And and if you take a look at Craigslist jobs, do it if you get time one time, and you'll see just these real shitty job things. We put emojis in there with fire, cash, and gold, and all this other stuff to get attention. So there's a way to use it effectively, and for what it costs, it's worth doing, effectively. If anybody wants to know more about that or how to do it, I can help out with that.
So how can people reach out to you if they want to go ahead and hire you for recruiting?
So the best thing, or the easiest thing to do, is one of two things. You can go right to our website, which is hireleadchill.com. hireleadchill.com. I'm on Facebook because I've got a podcast and lives and all that in a group. Message me on there. I'm very easy to find there. And we also, if you want to just get together and chat with me about anything, if you want a demo, I'll do it. If you want to chat about how we do group interviews, which is absolutely mind-blowing on how we do group interviews, I'll be happy to talk about culture, leadership, whatever you guys want to talk about. We can post my calendar link in there. You can hook up with me on my calendar.
Good deal. And I met you at a convention, so don't sleep on conventions, guys.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Love it.
Good deal, man. That was great info. It was great having you on. And
Tim, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, man. And I'll be promoting you guys for the summit, man, for sure. I'm going to try to make it down for a day if I can. I've got some things I got to do, but I'm going to try to get in there for a day. I think you guys are just going to be changing the industry big time, man. I've seen what's happened with Christmas lights over the last, say, 3 years, 4 years. You guys are right now doing that in your industry, man, and I think you're going to blow it up.
Good deal, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, Shawn.
All right, guys. Have a good weekend. Thanks for having me on, man.
You too. Bye.